Good morning. I don't think there was an event made, but thank y'all for joining me this morning. I'm Mary with Pinky Mouse Sisters in the Kitchen, and Linda's not with us today, with me today, because the distance, we will be back together tomorrow, but because of the distance between us, we're just going to have to cook one day a week separate because of the holidays. We want to get in as many recipes as possible. It looks like I'm that camera, and I'm doing the camera and everything today, so I'm going to try to get that down a little bit more so y'all can see what I'm doing. Okay, thank y'all for joining me. Like I said, Linda, there's nothing wrong with Linda, my sister. She's at home, but we will be back together tomorrow. I'm going to be making a chocolate pie. There's been so many of you request us make a chocolate pie, and I've done a coconut pie on video before, and I've told y'all that there's not any difference except you use cocoa powder. At least that's what I use, or in the chocolate, and I use coconut in the coconut pie. So I'm also going to make a pie crust this morning. I also debated on making one this morning, but I went ahead and mixed up some, because when you're making pie crust, you need to put it in the refrigerator a while so that it will kind of get cold, so it's easier to roll out. So I've tried to get my measurements all ready so that I won't take so long doing the video. I preheated my oven for 450 to 450. I have got 3 cups of all-purpose flour in here, and I'm going to put a teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to miss my sister, and I'm just going to whisk that salt and in with my flour. And let's see here. I forgot to get egg out. I thought I had everything out, but I had forgot my egg. So I'm gonna go ahead and crack my egg, and I'm using my Aunt Elsie's recipe this morning on the crust and on the pie. The only difference Aunt Elsie did on her pie crust is that she put a teaspoon of sugar in it. I'm not putting sugar in my pie crust. Now you can, if you want to. There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm just not putting, but that's what Aunt Elsie done. But I'm gonna, I've already, my butter, I use, and that's what Aunt Elsie done. She used half butter and half Crisco. And I've already put it, measured it. I put a cup plus 2 tablespoons of Crisco, and the same amount on butter. A half a cup of butter plus 2 tablespoons. So that's what, and I cut my butter up in little bitty chunks so that it would be easier to work with. If your butter is soft, it's harder to roll out. And so this is a cup, a half a cup of Crisco plus 2 tablespoons and a half a cup of margarine. And I'm going to dry my hands. That egg was, all right. Now, I'm going to mix this up. You can use a pastry blender, which sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I'll go ahead and I'll start it with this pastry blender, but since I am going to be putting this in the refrigerator, because I've already got one some made, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be making it right after that thing. So my hands, when I work with it with my hands, it will soften that butter up. And that's okay as long as you're going to put it in the refrigerator and let it get cold before you roll the pie crust out. Okay, so this pastry blender just helps break up that butter a little easier than just your hands. So I'm gonna, and I washed my hands before I just came on. This is something you have to put your hands in. So I'm gonna go ahead, now that I've got it mashed up some, I'm gonna, you want this to be like pea-size pieces in with your flour. So I'm gonna work it up around and get it pea-size, and then I will add the other ingredients to it. Like I said, Aunt Elsie, Aunt Elsie and Aunt Faye, Mother, all of them was great bakers, and I guess other than Mother, Aunt Elsie, actually I learned more from her. I guess maybe I was just around her a little more because her boys, Nathan was the same age as me, and we just kind of we went to school together, and we just kind of was close. So all right, now I've got this mixed up where all the butter is mixed up, and now I'm gonna beat this egg here. 1 egg, and I beat it up. I just think Aunt Elsie had 5 boys, and 3 of them was already gone to meet the Lord, and we were so close to the family. It just seemed like that's not fair for her to have lost her boys. Now, before I put my hands in that again, I've got 1 teaspoon of vinegar. Let me see. My phone is ringing, and I know my kids. Let me see here. I was wondering if one of them was calling me, but I guess not. And I'm going to put, that was 1 teaspoon of vinegar and 4 tablespoons of cold water. I got this water out of the refrigerator, but I'm not going to put that water in there until I start mixing it up. And you know what I got thinking about? I know who that was calling me. That's my son Chuck. He's one of the kids I have not talked to this morning, so I forgot to tell him I was going live. So just sprinkling 4 teaspoons of cold water. And you sometimes you might have to add a little more water, but most of the time I find that 4 tablespoons is enough. So, like I said, I already have one mixed up, but I wanted to give y'all the recipe. I've given it to y'all before, but this will it'll make 2 nice crusts. Actually, it makes a little more than 2, but that's usually all I get out of it. So I did use all 4 tablespoons of water. And this kind of, just kind of work it all in. And you can tell if you need some more or not. But I think this is going to, I'll show it to you. I think it's going to stick pretty good. So you want it to stick together. So it's sticking pretty good. And then I'm going to wrap it in saran wrap and put it in the refrigerator. Or I could actually leave it in this bowl until after the video. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. See? Y'all know I'm messy. It was stuck to my hand. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to wash my hands and put that in some saran wrap. And then I'll clean off my counter here. Put this saran wrap over it. I hope y'all can hear me. I don't have the mics on. Put this in the refrigerator. Sorry about that. Get all this stuff out of my way. I'm going to put all this up and clean my counter off. And then I'll roll out this pie dough that I made earlier this morning. The pie is real quick and simple, so it won't take long to do the pie. So let me dry it off. This is the pie crust that I made this morning. And I've got my pastry mat out here and my rolling pin and a little bit of flour. A little bit, you don't need much. Now I'm gonna hide this because I don't need this whole roll. So I'm just gonna hype it. Like I said, it really makes more than 2 crusts, but that's all I'm gonna. I can see the little butter pieces in that, and that's what makes it so flaky. So I'm gonna roll this out. I don't know, used to, y'all probably remember, used to whenever we rolled out made pie crust, we would put wax paper on the bottom and on the top of the pie crust and roll it, and that way it didn't stick to your rolling pin. But I hadn't done that in a long time. So, and you do need to roll this out while it's cold. And I just keep putting, because of that butter in there, and you rolling it, it does get soft. I hope I don't make a big flop of this on camera. I can do it if I'm not on camera. I don't know what it is about that, but it's the truth. I can roll out pie crust and make all kinds of things, but you let me get on camera, and it seemed like, but that, I don't care, I'm making it. I said I was determined I was going to make this crust this morning. So I just roll it out. And I'm using one of our new pie plates. I'm going to try to get this thin as I can. You know what? You can always patch it. That's what, if it comes apart in certain places, at least that's what I've always done. Okay, well now I'm fixing to, because I don't want that butter to get soft on me. So, this is our, you can use aluminum pie pans or any kind of pie pan, and this is what I do to know about how big. You want it about at least an inch, at least around. That's how I do it. And and I'm actually allowing for a little extra because I want a good edge on it. So put that aside. Linda's probably laughing at me. Anyway, put this, whoops, come on. And it did tear a little bit right there, but that's okay. That's no problem. I can fix it. I'm not going to put pie weights on this. I know Linda does, and I do too sometimes. But I'm not going to now. Carl, if you hear me, text your brother and tell him I'm on live, because I know that's him calling. So anyway, so I'm gonna turn the edges. Now this, I have not ever homemade a pie crust for this pie dish, which they're basically all the same, but so I really didn't allow as much as I would like on the edges, because I like a good little crust, a little crinkle on the side. But I'm going to make do with what I have here. So, And if you make these, you be sure and prick the bottom with the fork, because Linda, so she does this so pretty. I wish I could. And actually, I work with it till it is pretty when I'm not on camera. But I'm not going to take that time this morning. And I got my oven already on 450, and it's already preheated. So I'm going to stick this in the oven. See, part of that, it wasn't completely round, so it was wider on one end and on one side and smaller on the other. But yeah, I'm kind of a perfectionist. I guess that's why I don't do as good on camera, because I work with it till it's the way I want it. But I can't do that on camera. But you can. Just keep working with it till you get it the way you want it. Okay. Just press it down. All right, now I'll take a fork. If you don't use tie weights, you have to prick this crust or it will bubble up and have air in it. So you have to prick it all around the edges. And on the bottom. So the pie itself, it takes 5 minutes to do the pie. We'll have to wait on this crust to get done. Okay. I just pricked the bottom of it. That is very important. Here's little pieces sticking up. Okay, it's going in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes. Turn the light on. Let me turn my timer on. You think I don't know how to work my own microwave? I do. Okay. All right, I'm going to move this aside, and we're going to do the pie filling. And again, this is Aunt Elsie's recipe. Okay. I'm going to wipe my counter off again. Not having somebody following along beside me cleaning up after me makes it a little bit harder, but I don't like to work in a dirty space. So, and I thought I had some whole milk, and I didn't. And that was one reason I was going to call Chuck before he called me this morning, because I know he does have some. But instead, I'm using canned milk. Now let me tell you, it takes 2 cups of milk. Normally what I do is I use 1 cup of evaporated milk and then 1 cup of whole milk. But I don't have any whole milk. The dates goes out on my milk so fast because I don't drink whole milk. And so I poured it out this morning. I was going out to Chuck to get some and I forgot. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little extra canned milk because I don't want it too watered down. And I'm going to finish filling this 2 cup measuring cup with water, because canned milk, when you half it, milk and water, it's the same thing as milk. But I want this to be a little bit richer, so I put a little bit more. What it is 2 cups of milk. However you do it, if you want to use all whole milk, 2% milk, whatever, I use half and half, canned milk and whole milk. So, and I put it in this microwavable bowl. Well, like I said, time to look at the camera. I dropped a little bit of milk. Okay, got that cleaned up. Now I'm putting this in the microwave for 2 minutes. Well, I forgot I had my timer going. All right, so that's the milk, and now eggs. This is 4 eggs. I've already separated them. I put my whites in my mixer bowl that I'm going to do the frosting with, the meringue with, and this is 4 eggs. Now when that milk gets warm, I'm going to put these eggs in there. Now, let's see, where's my bowl? I guess I didn't get a bowl. You know, I thought I had it all out here. Okay, when that gets warm, I'm putting 1 cup of sugar. This is cocoa, so I'm putting 4 tablespoons of cocoa powder, chopped cocoa. I sifted it, so it's 4 tablespoons. I mix that with my sugar. 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. And let's see, where's my whisk? Guess I'll get another one. This is my dry ingredients. So I'm gonna stir up the cocoa and the sugar and the cornstarch. Mix all that up. All right. This is my milk, and that got hotter than it normally gets. Ooh. I don't want to put those eggs in there that hot. Okay, I'm gonna put the dry ingredients in there now. Really, you should have put the eggs in there with the milk cold. I'm gonna temper this just a little bit because I should have, that milk got hotter than it normally gets on me. So I'm gonna temper these eggs just a little bit. I don't want them to. You could have put these eggs in the milk before you microwaved it. And that's what I usually do. But, you know, they put me here. It's really simple. And I don't know why that I forgot to put the eggs in there with my milk. Okay. Put all that out of the way. I'm going to leave my, put this back in the microwave for 3 minutes. It takes about 5 minutes to make a pie. I'll put the timer on. Total 5 minutes for a pie. It makes them different. I don't like to do it 5 minutes all at one time because it gets thick. When it might time you've microwaved it 2 or 3 minutes, it gets thick and you need to whisk it to stir it up so it just won't be all one thick mess. And I tell you, going solo is a lot more work than us working together. So, and then whenever it gets completely done, we put the flavoring and the butter in it. Let me get some butter out. Butter, I've used different amounts of butter before. 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons. I put as much as a stick in it before. I'm probably going to put 3 tablespoons in it today. So, when that gets, and now I'm going to be, I've got the 4 egg whites in the mixer. I tried to mix it some before I came on air, so I hope I didn't mess up because I didn't want it to have to run so long. And so I'm gonna beat the egg whites. That's 4 egg whites. So you're supposed to put 2 tablespoons of sugar per egg, but I'm only putting 6 tablespoons in this because I don't want it that sweet, because I'm going to make some goop that you put in it to keep it from running, or from the crystals forming on top. So I'm just going to let that. I had turned my timer off on for my pie crust, and I was smelling it, but I checked, it's not, because I'm making the filling in the microwave. Normally, I make that pie crust before I ever even start, and have it already made and cooled before I make the filling. But I was trying to get it all in at a time. So, let that run. The goop that I make to go on top in the meringue is, this is 2 tablespoons of sugar. 2 tablespoons of sugar. 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. And a 1/2 cup of water. And I'm going to stir that around. Cornstarch to dissolve in cold water. So a 1/2 cup of water, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Now I'm going to put this on the burner. This is our little milk pan I use. Can y'all see my whites over there? That's my whites. Now I'm fixing to, when I get the goop made, I will put the goop in there and vanilla flavoring, and it'll be ready. Okay. Now this is something you have, when you're making this, I call it goop. That's what Mama called it. You have to stir it constantly because you just want to get it thick. It's all. You cook it till it's clear. It's crystal clear. Keep checking on my pie crust. And I'm going to check my pie filling. So I'm taking that off the burner. Okay. See how it looks when it comes out? That's 3 minutes. And you stir it around. You whisk it. See? And I'm not going to, you know, I normally would cook that 2 more minutes. I'm not going to cook that but another minute. Because I did it 2 minutes to begin with, then 3 minutes. I'm going to do it 1 more minute. And that will be a total of 5 minutes because it's just about the right thickness I want. Now, check my pie crust. Ain't quite done. Here's, this really gets quick, gets done quick. So I have to be very careful with this. This cooks really fast. I better get a pie holder. Because once this starts getting hot, it gets thick really fast. So I just keep stirring it. burner off. See? That's what helps keeps that from crystals forming on top of your pie. All right, this is my pie. I'm adding little over 2 tablespoons, almost 3 tablespoons of butter and a teaspoon of vanilla flavoring. This is a half a teaspoon. I'm going to do it twice. I'm worried about my pie crust. I don't want it to get too done, too brown. I'm going to do that. I'm going to turn my stove down to 375 for my crust. For my meringue. I'm going to set this crust. This crust is supposed to, the pie crust is supposed to be cool when you put this filling in it, and it's not going to be. But I'm going to put it, there's my pie crust. All right. And I turned the stove down, the oven, to 375 because that's what I baked the meringue, pie on the meringue. Okay, so I'm just stirring the flavor and the butter up in here. I'm going to go ahead and put this pie filling in there, but that crust is hot. It might make it soggy. That's why I usually have my crust made before I even start my pie filling. But for camera's sake, I'm going to go ahead and put it as soon as I get this butter melted. I should have cut the butter up into smaller pieces instead of that big chunk. But it's okay. That hot pudding will melt it. See? Now when you're making this, don't think that this is too thin because it thickens up when it gets cool. So as soon as my butter melts, I will put it in there. And in the meanwhile, I am going to be, I need to add my flavoring in there. And it's best to use white vanilla when you're using the meringue, but I'm just going to go ahead and put a teaspoon of my pure flavoring in there. My extract. It's not flavor, it's extract. Now I'm putting this goop in there. I'm putting it in there hot. Scrape down the sides. Just a little bit more. And I'm going to go ahead and put my chocolate pie filling in my pie. That butter, it makes it come out. All of it come out, so. Think it will. Get all that off of there. This is my pie meringue. And you do want to put your meringue on your hot filling. It's best for your filling, your pie crust to be cool before you put your filling in there. But to put the meringue on there, you want to put it on there immediately after your filling gets done, because it sticks to the filling sticks to your meringue better. And you want to seal it all around the edges, because you know sometimes you do a pie and it comes away from the edges. It's because you didn't I see where I dropped some pie. You probably didn't seal your meringue. So and I kind of pat it like this. That kind of packs it, because sometimes it might be a little hollow space in there. So I kind of pat it like that. These were supposed to be large eggs, but I'm telling you, the eggs are not very large anymore to be called a large. And then I just do a little swirl here and there, you know, kind of make it have some little peaks. Just however you want to do it, you know. Or I'm sure my granddaughter could do a lot more professional with the little dollops, because she does some beautiful work. Now I'm going to get a paper towel. I'm going to turn this around. That little bit of chocolate there I dripped when I was putting it in here. Okay. Alrighty. Now I'm going to put it back in the oven. And you're supposed to bake your pie with your meringue for 15 minutes. Woo, I must have something. I had icing on my finger. Now I made it worse. I'll clean it off in a minute. I got to get this in the oven. Because your egg whites needs to get done. So 15 minutes. I'm going to wipe my glasses off. I touched my glasses with my finger, and it had frosting on it. Oh goodness. Well, I've been on for 40 minutes, and y'all can tell it's really not that complicated to make one of these pies. I'll never forget when Elsie first told us about using the microwave for your pies. Actually, I was just thinking, in her cookbook, in the recipe book that their church had, that recipe she put the liquids in a blender. She put everything, flour, eggs, everything in a blender, and blended it all together, and then put it, how did she do that? I guess then she put it in the microwave. But I don't do that. I do mine a little bit different. But that's what she done. So, anyway, I'll just take this off and put it in the water. I hope that was simple for y'all. I will bring it out and show it to you, because it doesn't get very long. Let me put the timer on. Timer. It depends on your stove, your oven. It might not take quite as long in your oven. It depends. It just depends. So watch your pie. Don't let it get too brown. So it depends on how you make it. I've got it on 375. I might, you know what? I think I need to turn that down. I'm gonna turn that down. I think 350 is high enough for that meringue. I bake I couldn't count the cream pies I've made. And seems like lately it's got where I can't remember what I've done. I can, on different recipes, I say, did I do this or did I do that? But anyway, I just kind of go with it. Whatever I say, I kind of backtrack and kind of watch, make sure that it is okay. I'll be on tomorrow. I'm going to be making some chicken dressing, our Thanksgiving dressing that I make for our Thanksgiving. I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving this year. This will be the first year that my granddaughters has got to come for Thanksgiving. We used to get together on Thanksgiving, and it got weird because they had families. I still ain't got my glasses cleaned. They quit coming because they had Thanksgiving with their family. But what we're doing this year is, and Linda, my sister, will be joining us. We will actually be having our Thanksgiving on Thursday. Little Linda had invited me to her house for Thanksgiving this year, and that was our plans because my granddaughters don't usually get to come. So that was our plans. And then one by one, they were saying they wanted to come. So Linda said she would just come and help me, and we would just have Thanksgiving on here. So thank you, little Linda, for letting me off the hook this time. But anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. I think we're going to have about 15 or 16 people in my family here for Thanksgiving. And so I'm going to be making the cornbread tomorrow, showing you how I do my cornbread for my dressing. And then I'll make a small pan of dressing so that y'all can see how I do it. There's so many dressings out there. Cornbread dressing, there's rice dressing, there's brown rice dressing, oyster dressing, but mine, I do cornbread dressing. So that's what I'll be doing tomorrow. And and then my sister, she told me this morning what she's making Wednesday. I would be back. She would be here tomorrow with me. I would be at her house on Wednesday, and we'll be doing together Tuesday and Wednesday. And I'll be on my other page this afternoon sometimes. And that's probably when I will slice the chocolate pie and show you how it slices, because this pie has to cool before you cut it, because you want that filling to firm up some. And when it's hot, it's not going to cut as nicely. I'll put it that way. So I will be showing you the how it slices on my other page after a while. But I'm going to go ahead. I wanted to show you how long to brown it before we got off air. So I was going through the recipe book this morning, the one that my Aunt Elsie and for her church did. And I'm telling you, there are so many good recipes in there. I really would like to find something different for our holiday meals. I don't know if y'all are like we are, but it seems like we cook the same casseroles, the same salads, the same everything for the holidays every year. And I kind of like to add something new. And I was trying to find something that I thought that we all would like. I did find a recipe on something that I am going to make. Not for sure whether I will like it or not, but I'm willing to try. So that's a red cabbage slaw. So I'm gonna try that and see if I like it. I like cabbage, so it might be okay. But are y'all like that? Do y'all seem to have the same foods when you get together for the holidays? Last year, Linda, she brought some hot tamales, and we had hot tamales for us four siblings, my two brothers and my sister and I. We had that the night before our big Christmas get-together. So, and we love hot tamales. In Jefferson, there's a place over there in Jefferson that makes the best. And so that was kind of different. And one year, we had Christmas at my little brother's house, Edward. When he lived in Azle. Charles and Linnell lives in Azle now, Texas. But Edward and Debbie, a few years ago, they also lived in Azle. And so we had Christmas at Edward and Debbie's house one year, and it was beautiful. I think she had a Christmas tree in every room of the house, decorated beautiful, just fabulous. Edward, both of my brothers are very good at carpenter work. They make all kinds of things. Edward goes a little bit further with his because Charles is doing more now that he's retired, but he was on the road mostly, most of the time. But Edward's been at home more, so he's really crafty with wood things. He has made, oh goodness, I think the first house him and Debbie had in Mississippi, I think they paid for the house with his woodwork because he's just that good. And Debbie is an artist. All her painting work is just beautiful. And so they still sell some of it. They steal some of it. But Edward had little miniature houses, real little, you would call almost like a doll house, but it was a real, kind of like, a little smaller than a storage bin, but he had 2 or 3 of those he built in his backyard. And they had gnomes around one of them. I don't know, I don't remember what all it was, but their backyard was beautiful with these little houses that he built. And the theme of it and everything, it was just beautiful. We had a good Christmas that year. I forgot where I was going with this, but anyway, we get together at each other's houses at different times. At Charles and Linnell, we've been to their house several times for Christmas, but most of the time they have come to my house. I don't mind. We can go to their house anytime, but it just seemed like it's mostly been at my house, which is fine. And I'll tell you one reason for that, too, is my grandchildren all live away from me. They have to drive 5 hours to get here. Well, if we had it at Charles Linnell's, and they would come, but then my Christmas would have to be following that, so that's about halfway. So they would come to my house and then that would rush my immediate family's Christmas. It would just rush us so much. So we kind of combined my family Christmas with the Pinkston Christmas. So the Pinkston Christmas we have at my house the Saturday after Christmas, so they can go to their families, and then everybody goes home. Some of them stays in hotels and comes back here off and on that whole day. But then my immediate family, after that night, when it all kind of settles down, we pop firecrackers, and some of them that stay in hotels, the Pinkstons, they would come back out here and watch fireworks. But then we would have our little immediate Christmas then, afterwards, after everything kind of settled down from that. And we always have so much food. There's no point in making any other meal. We have the leftover ham sandwiches and dressing, whatever we have, and all the desserts you would ever want. So anyway, that's what we do. We have many memories of cousins, and some of our cousins comes to my house on Christmas too, and I hope they come again this year. I was telling you, Aunt Elsie, I guess I had Aunt Elsie on my mind this morning. I guess because I was looking at the cookbook and seeing all the recipes she had in there, and I think she passed away, and if Linda was here, she would know. I think it was 2005, but I may be wrong. I know Mother died in 2003, and Aunt Elsie, I don't know if she lived 2 or 3 years after Mama did, but she's been gone a long time, but her recipes still linger with me. And like I said, she had 5 boys. We was close to all of them. She's lost 3 of them, have already gone to meet the Lord, and she's only has 2 left. And I hope they come. Nathan comes every year, or almost every year. And I'm hoping that Randy, but I will tell you that Randy, it's Randy and Nathan that's still with us. And Nathan is the oldest. Randy is the oh, he's a baby. No, Gary was a baby. He's third, I guess third down is Nathan, Raymond, and Randy. Randy has cancer, stage 4 cancer. So that's just another thing for us to pray about. God's able. So anyway, we hoping both of them can be with us this year. It's almost ready. Almost ready. I got the timer set, and I just want to show it to you when I take it out of the oven, but I will not cut it right now. So, and we're Thursday. You know, we're going to be at in Sherman, near Dallas area on Thursday. But we'll talk about that more and give you the address tomorrow when Linda's with us. And Carla, she's supposed to, I think Carla's coming back to my house tomorrow. I think she is. And little Linda will be back. Little Linda will be doing the camera tomorrow. When my sister and I decided to do this, one of us cook me on Monday or Thursday and her vice versa, whatever. I guess we wasn't thinking about how hard it is to manage the camera and the cook and everything. But she manages good, and hey, I got through it, so that's all that matters. We had a good Sunday school lesson yesterday, just real good. I really enjoyed it. It's got me thinking. You know how every time you go to church, the sermons always gives you something to think about, you know, and it does. It feeds your soul. You need that every day, and I don't want to ever forget to count my blessings. You know, the devil, he does everything in the world. I guess I tell off on myself. Yesterday morning, was it yesterday morning? Yeah, it was Sunday morning. I got up and I got to looking for something, and I couldn't find it. And it just upset me because I could not find it. And I used to not get upset that easy, but I couldn't find it. Let me check my pie. I'm going to give it just about another minute. I couldn't find it. So I said, you know how the devil creeps in and tells something. And I said, well, I cannot go to Sunday school. I tell you what it was. My little Linda had bought me a new pair of shoes. And I thought maybe, because I went back and exchanged them, I thought maybe I had laid them down in Dillard's. And that's what I had convinced myself, that when I was paying for my clothes, that I had laid down that box of shoes and left them in Dillard's. So I was upset thinking that I did leave them in Dillard's. And so I just said to myself, well, I just cannot go to church. I am too upset. I will be worried about this all during service, and I won't be able to concentrate. And then, you know what? I got a little check, a little check from the Lord, you know. And so I just started saying, no, devil, you're not going to win this battle. You are not going to win this battle. I am going to church. I don't care if I find those shoes or not. I'm going to church. But God, I do know that you know where those shoes are. And if they're in this house, let me find them. I went straight from that bedroom, because I had went to the spare bedroom. I went that bedroom back to my bedroom. I had 3 boxes of shoes that I bought recently in the box. I had looked in those boxes 3 times. Truthfully, I had not opened one of them because when I picked it up, it felt so light, I thought it was empty. I went from that bedroom, went back, took those 3 boxes of shoes out again, and opened that one box, and there was my shoes. So, you know what? God helped me find those shoes. And it was just because I was too upset thinking I had lost them that I was overlooking. I really thought I had opened all 3 of those boxes, but apparently I didn't, because that box was light, and I thought that box is empty. I thought it was another pair of shoes that I had out. Anyway, I found them. But you know what? When you start having thoughts, the devil tells you, that you can't go to church because of some reason or another, just tell the devil you're not going to have it. You're going to church regardless. That's what I had to do. Anyway. All right, let me get my pie out. Let me see here. I'm going to get something to put it on. All right. Here's my pie. See that pie? And I'm going to turn this oven off. Okay. Thank y'all for waiting till I got this out of the oven. I'll be cutting it when it cools down, when it gets cold. So, and I'll post a picture of it and let y'all see how it cuts, and that it does, even though your filling may seem like it's too thin, it's not. It thickens up when it gets cold. So, thank y'all so much. Let me see if there's any, well, I ain't got my glasses on. Let me put my glasses back on. I can't, yeah, I can see it anyway. Oh, Sister Camp, Sister Camp, I had you a piece of sweet potato pie my sister made, and I just had it in the container. It was going to bring you and Sister Lauren both a piece of pie, and every time I would leave the house, because they lived 10 miles from me, I would forget that pie. But today, Sister Camp, I will bring you a piece of chocolate pie when it cools off. Love y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining me this morning and hanging with me. And don't forget to count your blessings. And don't let the devil have the last word. Bye-bye. See you back tomorrow.